opposition with the sun. Obviously, it's a full moon. The moon is square to Saturn, and is in opposition with Mercury later in the day. So, in the moon is in Virgo, and the North Node is in Virgo. This is an opportunity to take a look at how we process emotion. Are we processing emotion in a critical way? Are we processing emotion in a logical, rational way? Are we employing thought more so than emotion? The moon is about emotions, and the moon in Virgo, in direct opposition with Pisces, Pisces being a very watery planet, and that is its direct opposite. It is emotional, and although Virgo, does have emotions, it's more ruled by logic. Its ruling planet is Mercury. So interestingly enough, the moon in Virgo, full moon in Virgo on the 12th will be making a direct opposition with its ruling planet Mercury, and Mercury at that point in time will still be in Pisces. And again, Mercury's in a Pisces, which is kind of, Pisces is ruled by Neptune. And this is very watery, dreamy vibration, very dreamy energy. Also in Pisces of note is Chiron, which is the wounded healer. That is the planet or the asteroid or the heavenly body that's making a square with Saturn. The square is not such a good aspect. It's more of a confrontation in a sense. So what this means is, being that Chiron is about old wounds, old emotional wounds, when it squares off with Saturn, sometimes we have an instinct to brush those feelings off as being non-productive, as being non-practical. But actually you do need to process these old wounds, elsewise they will continue to pop up in your life. Now, another great thing that's occurring astrologically right now that fits all of this is the Venus retrograde. Venus went into retrograde on the 4th of March, and she will remain there until the 15th of April. And this allows us to go back in thought, think back in time. In fact, you might hear from old relationships, situations involving money or finances or home or values, things like that might come up again. But mostly this is about emotions, particularly with its opposition with Chiron and with Chiron squaring Saturn. So you'll have one pull that says, oh, this is irrational, this is not a practical time to go over emotions and to look at them. But actually, Venus in retrograde is giving you a perfect opportunity to do that. And it's because it's in the North Node, North Node is in Virgo. This is also about things that we're wanting to collectively attain for our collective soul's evolution. So again, just to reiterate that, if this hopefully is making sense, with Chiron squaring Saturn, the instinct might be to brush your feelings under the rug, your old wounds under the rug, but also with Venus in retrograde and the moon in Virgo in direct opposition with Mercury, Virgo's ruling planet, this is a good opportunity, actually much better opportunity, to go back and look at old wounds, old relationships. How did you operate in old relationship dynamics? Does that still serve you? That kind of thing. Okay, so for the full moon reading, we're going to do a variation on the Tetragrammaton first to find out where we as the Fool should find ourselves in what Kabbalistic world. And then in addition to that, I'm going to do a 3-card pull based on the supernal triangle. That's the top 3 Sephira, or the top 3 placements on the Tree of Life. Sephira on the Kabbalistic Tree of Life, which would be Keter, Chokmah, and Binah. Or it would be on the top 3 placements on the Kemetic Tree of Life. That would be Amen, Aser, it would be Tehuti, and Sekhert, which are very similar. It's females ruled by Saturn. The male is ruled by Neptune. And then Keter or Aser, Amen, would be ruled by Pluto. Okay, so let's carry on. I'm using the Morgan Greer, which is a Rider-Waite-Smith based tarot deck. And I'm also using the archetype oracle cards here for clarification. They are loosely based on Jungian archetypes. So let's start with the first portion of the tetragrammaton. It's like the first step in the opening of the key. And find out what Kabbalistic world we, the Fool, find ourselves and in what position, which will give us an idea of what we should be focusing on or how we should be focusing on as we're dealing with these energies astrologically. All right. So there are 4 Kabbalistic worlds. They spell out the name of God, Yod-He, Vav-He. And the first of these, the first letter, because you read from right to left, is Yod, which is the land of Atziluth, or the Kabbalistic world of Atziluth, which is fire, creativity, action, projects, things like that. Second world is Bria, which is more emotions. Third world is Yetzirah. And fourth world is Asya. Yetzirah is thoughts, rationale, the land of Mercury, that kind of thing. And then Asya is the world of Earth, practical matters, finances, health, things like that. All right, so let's see if the Fool appears here in Atziluth. Again, this is Yod-He, Vav-He. So this is Atziluth. And the reason it's the first letter, fire is the first level, first letter. We were in Atziluth. Is because it's spelled right to left, and Yod and fire are considered, Yod are like a flame or a hand or a sperm. But it is the first letter because it is the purest source. Fire is the highest element in terms of its connection with Keter, the spirit, and the tree of life. Okay, so we got the Fool upright, right? And we were in Atziluth, which is, again, the land of fire, creativity, spiritual growth, things like that. So we're in a good opportunity right now with all of the planetary activity, and with, with the moon. Lunar activity is really good for creativity. It's good for self-expression. So we're in a good position in the land of Atziluth to actually express ourselves creatively. And this could mean expressing ourselves in the workplace, even if it has nothing to do with art or the arts. But it is about showing the self in an altruistic and honest, authentic way. So we're in a good position to do that. Now, with all the other attributes, of course, it's important to watch what you say, make sure that you're being compassionate and you're being considerate of other people, because with all the energies going on right now and with the full moon, it can make you feel emotionally unsteady. But now is the time for creation. If you've got an art project, if you've got a work project, if you've got some other endeavor that you're ready to put some energy into, now's the time, because the energy is definitely there. Okay. Now, let's do the supernal pull. Again, this is the first 3 placements on the Tree of Life. Kabbalistic, this would be the first 3 Sephirah. Keter, Chokhmah, Binah. Kemetic, this would be the first 3 placements of Amen Asar, Tehuti, and Sekhet. And basically this will represent for us the superconscious, the conscious, and the subconscious mind. So beyond knowing that the creativity and the energy is there to create and to express ourselves, we know that from the first portion of the Tetragrammaton. Now let's find out what Spirit wants us to know collectively as we go through our day-to-day activities, our relationships, particularly with the all right. The Hermit, Queen of Cups reverse, Queen of Swords reverse. Okay, so superconscious, God consciousness, the highest consciousness or the highest intelligence, is wanting us to take some time to look within Now this is a card that this is the Hermit card. It is associated with Virgo. Again, Virgo ruled by Mercury. But this is a time for us to look within. So this is kind of perfect placement. The full moon is in Virgo. This gives you an opportunity to look at emotions, relationships, especially with the Venus retrograde, to find out how it is you were hurt in the past, how you have expended your energy, meaning your love, your time, your resources. Did that fulfill you? Did that help the relationship, or did it hinder the relationship? And by the same token, what allowances did you give to others in previous relationships that perhaps, left you feeling worn out, or depleted your resources? Perhaps there are boundaries to set up at this point in time. So Spirit is asking us to look deep within, take some time to really analyze. See, he's kind of shining a light on something. And that's the whole concept of shining a light to see what shadows have hidden. And that's kind of the crux of shadow work, is to look at what's been hidden and bring it to light. And the full moon, that's kind of perfect. Now in the conscious mind, it looks as though we are worrying about a loss of love. Now this is the Queen of Cups. Generally, this is a Cancer. It doesn't matter if it's male or female or undecided. And her attributes are really quite, well, she's nurturing, she's a mother, she's a very creative soul, compassionate, but in her reverse aspect, she lacks boundaries. She is transparent to the point where she's not really sure where she begins and where the other ends. And that kind of leaves her feeling not sure she knows herself, and it makes it very difficult for others to know her. So in our conscious mind, we're thinking about this. We're thinking about, I don't know who I am. I'm not sure who I am. I don't even know if I'm expressing who I am to others. Am I expressing my true self, or am I putting on a facade just to get through the day? Am I living a lie? And again, this harkens back to why it's important right now that we do the inner work, as the Hermit sort of suggests. Do the inner work to determine, again, in the past, what have I done in the past that gave myself away so much that I have kind of lost my identity. I've lost north, your true north on your compass. You've lost your identity. You've lost who you are, the basis of who you are. Now, in our subconscious mind, we have the Queen of Swords in reverse. Queen of Swords in the upright is generally a Libra or a Libra energy. So Libra energy is balanced, just, fair, and diplomatic, but in its reverse, some of its less helpful things come into play. Libra can be indecisive. So subconsciously, it looks as though superconscious is communicating to you through your subconscious, us through our subconscious, that we're not really clear on what we want, and we're wavering on making a decision on what exactly it is we want. We're looking at too many choices. It's making the whole situation quite confused. And that could be related to relationships. This could also be related to who we are, or what we think we are, who we think we are, and what we think we want to be. Who do we want to show to other people? And we've got several options, because Cancer is fluid, and Libra is balance. It can go either way. They're an air sign and a water sign, but both cardinal signs, and both ready to make a move in a direction. They herald fall and they herald summer. So because they are forward-moving signs, with her in her reverse, and with her in her reverse, or him or her, it doesn't matter. Again, it's not gender specific, but it is Libra and it is Cancer energy. When she's not sure who she is right now, and over here on a subconscious level, we're being told that, there's a lot of things on our mind, a lot of choices, and we're not able to apparently make a decision on those choices. We can't seem to narrow anything down. That kind of goes back to this. again, not knowing really who we are. And that focuses right back here to what Spirit is telling us, which is we need to figure out who we are, what we want. And that can be an inventory. You have to take time to, you know, hey, do I like horror movies? You know, something simple like that. Am I someone who prefers Pepsi or Coke? Am I someone who, am I team Jacob or am I team Edward? You know, stuff like that. Where do I fall? Who am I? What do I prefer? And once you make a determination of who you are, you can take a look at what you've done in the past and determine if that helped you or hindered you. And it will also allow you to make decisions in the future, actually make decisions instead of floundering about things, about what you want, who you want to be. Once you make a determination of who you are through this reflection, and you make a determination of who you are, you'll be better able to make a determination on what you want and make a decision. This is the archetype oracle. As I said, it's based loosely on Jungian archetypes. And very stiff cards, so I'm going to do a couple of shuffles, maybe 3, and then we'll pull a card. I'd like to get some clarification here and here. Why was Cancer in reverse and why was Libra in reverse in conscious and subconscious? Do we have a chance to decide who we want to be, but we don't know who we are, so therefore we need to know who we are before we decide who we want to be? That kind of makes sense. That's kind of what I'm getting here. And that's why that reflection, that inner reflection is required. That time looking within is required. What do we need to know to help us figure out and get Cancer turned right way around to make a determination on who we are? Who do we need to know? What do we need to know about who we are? What can you tell us? What kind of hint? All right. And let's see, for that we got Beggar. Okay, so Beggar, the light attributes are, and we got it right side up, so we would take on the light attributes, which are: confronts empowerment at the level of physical survival, awakens the spiritual authority of humility, compassion, and self-esteem. So that actually does speak to this, because its shadow aspect is dependence on others to the exclusion of effort. So you may have spent, or we collectively may have spent too much time looking to other sources to tell us who we are. And here we're being asked to confront empowerment at the level of physical survival. Awaken the spirit authority of humility, compassion, and self-esteem. And this is not the silly, narcissistic, ego-based self-esteem. Not that there's anything wrong with ego, and we're all a bit narcissist, but this is looking at knowledge of who we truly are, which is spirit experiencing a physical body, and being in love with that, because it is the highest of the high, it's collective. But also, in terms of our life here on this planet, this incarnation, what makes us different from someone else in the physical. So this is taking the time to be humble, to listen to self, to go within and listen to self. And in that, with humility, but with self-love, taking ownership of who we are, knowing who we are, so we can figure out what it is that we want. Now, what's this Libra energy in reverse in the subconscious? Lover. Great passion and devotion. We got this upright as well, which means we take the light attribute. Great passion and devotion, unbridled appreciation of someone or something. So this is, I feel that this is actually speaking to us. We really need to fall in love with ourselves. Subconsciously, we're going to determine who we are, but we need to fall in love with the very core and essence of who we are. And I don't mean fall in love in an extravagant, again, narcissistic way. the way the beggar is talking about it here, sort of building from the ground up, from nothing, with humility. Okay, well, I know that I don't know much about who I am anymore. I've given too much of myself away. My reflection has told me that, or whatever. Reflection has told me, what I'm not. Let's try to figure out who I am. And that basically is a quiet, gentle assessment of what we like and what we don't like. And once we determine that, once we've fallen in love with the essence of who we are, then in this current incarnation, we can start to understand and build our identity here on this planet in this incarnation, apart from the other. It's kind of goes against what the collective is, I know, but actually we do need individually to make a determination of who we are in comparison or contrast to the other for us to really build and grow and learn from this incarnation. I really hope that helped or that made sense. Just to recap, Spirit is telling us to go inward because at the moment we don't seem to know who we are or what we want, and we're floundering on what we want. So the further clarification that we got was to, from this perspective, to find out who we are, to determine what we like and who we are, how we're identified as a physical experience on this planet at this time, is to do it from do it with humility from the ground up, as if you just met yourself, and learn things about yourself through this inner reflection. Once you do that, then understanding who you are, then it's a matter of falling in love with the combination of who you find out that you are, who your true self essentially is, the spirit, and what it is that you want. Then you can make a determination of what you want and move forward once you know who you are. Once there's no more blurred lines between you and the other on a physical level, you recognize there's a spiritual, essence where we're all connected. But as a physical expression in this lifetime, you are an individual. So who is that individual, and what does that individual want? Boy, that was long. I'm really sorry. This is very wobbly and rambly and waffly. I hope it helped someone. Otherwise, I will see everyone. If you would like a personal reading, please feel free to email me at mimimemes@hotmail.com. You'll find that in the description box below this video. Elsewise, I will be uploading the new messages for each zodiac sign right around the 14th and 15th of this month, which will carry us out through the rest of March. So be well, everyone. Enjoy the full moon, and I'll see you in the middle of the month. Take care.